I've been thinking a lot lately about secondary gains. If you don't know what secondary gains are, basically, in short, it's the good things you get out of the supposed bad things in your life, or the things that you view as maybe unproductive or bad for your health, or, you know, it could be an illness. The secondary gain is the thing that maybe subconsciously makes you keep up that bad behavior or self-defeating pattern. So with the example of like smoking, it could be, you know, there's all these reasons why it's bad, right? So you know, it's bad for your health, and you know, you smell, and you know, your teeth rot and all this stuff. But really what you should be asking is, what does it bring me? Why do I do it, basically? I saw this in Gabor Mate's interview with Tim Ferriss. He very much focuses on addictions and saying, asking, what does it do for you, right? Because it's not really that you're so obsessed with smoking or with television or with whatever you're addicted to. It's more that it fills a need, and it's important to ask what that need is. So with smoking, it could be that you have social anxiety, and smoking gives you an excuse to leave social situations on a periodic basis. And I've been thinking a lot about the secondary gains of my depression and my, you know, anxiety and all this stuff, and my identity really as like a depressed person or whatever. Actually, what spurred this on was that I was watching an interview with Charles Manson, because hobbies. He said something really interesting. The interviewer asked him, you know, what led to this, you know, like what made you do all those things, what made you be like that and whatever. And he goes on to say, you know, I didn't have parents, and that, you know, or growing up without parents meant that I was in a completely different kind of I was leading a completely different abnormal life than other people. And he said, I don't think I'm you know, I've never been a success at anything, I don't think I'm capable. And then the interviewer says like, well, I wouldn't really say that. And he's like, no, it's okay. It's actually good to not be capable. He says, if you're not capable, you don't have to do much. If you're capable, you got a lot to do. And you know, I'm not quoting him as some, by the way, like smart guru or anything, more of like a cautionary tale, obviously. And because of the severity of like what he did, it really struck me that that's how I feel too, is like, if you're capable, you got a lot to do. And I think subconsciously I've always, you know, I've maintained my depression in certain ways, and I've been self-defeating because I've been overwhelmed by everything I would have to do if I was completely healthy, or if I didn't have anything stopping me, or if I didn't have anything handicapping me, basically. But I think it's really true. It's like, if you're capable, you've got a lot to do. And I think for me, it was a way, or it is a way to handicap myself, and you know, and in a way to not take accountability for mistakes. It's always like a cushion, right? It's like studying for a test and being worried that you're gonna fail, so you don't study as hard, and then when you fail, you say, well, if I would have studied, you know, I would have passed it. I want to make clear though that this doesn't mean I made up my depression, or that anybody suffering with like addiction or any kind of problem or behavior that they're trying to change, it doesn't mean they made it up or that it's not real. It's about maintaining behaviors and being afraid of almost succeeding and getting better because of what that would mean. And I think it always comes back to fundamental, like, limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. And I found this with a lot of self-work. It mostly comes back to limiting beliefs. So if you don't know what they are, I really recommend that you look those up, because I really think that's like the core of all self-development. Like, if you can figure out what kind of like fucked up things you somehow got to believe about yourself, about other people, and about the world, you can go from there to, like, it's the key to a lot of other things, and especially secondary gains and self-sabotage, which is like really closely related to this, obviously, because you're maintaining this behavior and self-defeating so that you don't get better, so that you keep getting this secondary gain. So in my case, maybe not seeking out help in the right way, or, you know, quitting therapy when I shouldn't have, or, you know, it's like, and it's very insidious as well, to be sure. Like especially like my own self-sabotage, it's like I'll seek help, but I'll only do it like halfway, you know, or I'll give up when I know I should continue, or you know, I'll do it in like a haphazard way, like not a most efficient way. So it's very insidious. It's not that, you know, I refuse any help, or that it's not black and white like that at all. There's another factor, which is that, you know, if it's so enmeshed with your identity, like if I identify as like a depressed person, I don't really know what it means to be me without that. And any change like that to your identity is scary, and your ego or your whatever subconscious forces are going to try and keep your identity the same, because change is not, you know, our bodies and our brains are not very encouraging of change, but all they care about is survival. And if you've survived up until now in the state that you are, your brain's gonna be like, no, you gotta keep this going because you're alive, so that probably means that you're good. So something to think about as well, like pain identity and how that stops us from changing. So I really encourage you to think about what kind of limiting beliefs are at play here. For me, I know one is definitely that I think, you know, I am not capable. Like, I don't think I'm capable to deal with the world at full force. That's my self-limiting belief, which there's not that much evidence for. Like, I mean, I'm capable in some ways, I'm not capable in other ways, but my fear, I think, for changing and for getting better, and for possibly like letting go of my depression and my pain identity and stuff like that, is that I'll have to truly be like a functioning member of society, and if I fail at any point, there won't be something to blame it on or something like that, I think. That's as far as I've gotten. Like, there won't be an excuse, like I'm just a failure, or I'm just stupid, or I made a mistake. It's not because I was so sad that I couldn't do that thing, or that I, you know, self-sabotage so much because I hate myself and all this stuff. Like, if I don't hate myself anymore, I don't have an excuse for failing at something, or, you know. And actually, an interesting thing that my therapist told me was that I wrote down, and I think about it a lot. She said, it seems like you think that if you're not sad, you have to be perfect. Yeah, so, and you know, she's totally right. Especially like it's literally what I've just been saying. You know, yeah, I do think that. I think if I'm not depressed, then I have to be perfect. And that's not the case, right? It's just not the case. Like, you're allowed to be a completely mentally healthy person and still fuck up, and still make bad choices, and still procrastinate, and still self-defeat, but then, you know, really take ownership and not blame it on anything. And but yeah, I encourage you to think about anything that, you know, you complain about in your life, or that really hinders you, that you think like, oh, this is a bad thing I do, or it's a not that depression is something I do, but it's something I do perpetuate in some ways, even though such a big part of me doesn't want it to continue. I know there's a small enabling part of me which tries to undercut any success that I have in getting better, or when I progress, there's like a scary feeling of, oh no, I shouldn't be without it. And that's why, you know, when I was talking about my depression video, that's why I think there's these waves where I get like pulled back down, because the depression and the self-hate and all these feelings, that's my home, you know. that's the home that I go back to, and I don't really know where I would go back to otherwise. And you know, I don't have the solutions per se. I just kind of wanted to talk about secondary gains and what I've been thinking about lately. But identifying limiting beliefs is one of the biggest ones, and there are some resources that I could recommend, which is Struthless on his channel did his video on self-sabotage, and that's about kind of like challenging your limiting beliefs. It's an exercise where you list all the evidence for your limiting belief and against your limiting belief, and it's really well done, so I'll link it below. I don't think I could describe it better or make anything better. I've done it myself and it's really good, but the thing is, like, you know, it's not things that you can shed in a day or just by doing an exercise or in a week, because it's very likely that you would have learned these limiting beliefs when you were like a wee babe, and to unlearn that stuff is, yeah, you have to be constantly gathering evidence against those beliefs, and that's exhausting, because when your mind is on a certain default and is looking for confirmation for these beliefs, it's very hard to overpower that. It's like confirmation bias. Everything that goes through that filter into your brain, it will toss the stuff that doesn't confirm the belief, and it will store the stuff that confirms the belief, because your brain wants to be right. Your brain is like, oh my god, the belief is still good, you're all good. It causes chaos in you when there's evidence for things that you don't fundamentally believe. But that chaos is good. That chaos is what we need. So I invite you to invite that chaos for yourself and mess with your own brain that just wants to sabotage you so that it can confirm a belief that's based on nothing. You know, I'm gonna continue to reflect on my beliefs because I have to, because it's gone on too long, and I don't want to believe those things, you know. I don't want to be afraid of success. I don't want to be afraid of being happy and getting better, and I know I am. And that's something that really needs to change, because whatever efforts I make, as I was saying before, whatever efforts I make, they get lost because I lose that drive once my brain kicks in, and I can't afford to stop like that anymore. I want to be going forward. So that's all. I will see you soon.
I don't fit in society, and I am incompetent. I'm definitely incompetent.
No, that's not what I said.
Well, I say that. I say that. No, there's nothing wrong with being incompetent, because you don't have to do as much. If you're competent, then you got a lot to do, see.